Guru, thank you so much for being with us today. We had this chat earlier. What does this mean for the logistics chain, for labor issues in the U.S.? Does this mean that Amazon, more evidence that Amazon is invincible, or perhaps a setback for unionization efforts, which happen not over months but over years?
That's right. We believe this is a seminal moment for the industry as a whole, for mainly two reasons. One is that it represents the voice of the Amazon workers and really democracy in action. But on the other side, Amazon has written the blueprint for how e-commerce operates in the US. And having this vote go one way or the other would have provided the model for almost the entire e-commerce industry to follow. And from that perspective, having this going in the direction of Amazon basically tells us that the industry or the supply chain is not going to be touched by unions for a few years to come, at least, and is not going to touch the cost model of companies that are operating in the e-commerce market.
So, Guru, I wonder, has labor been overstated in the Amazon efficiency story? I know that you have talked about the most important thing in Amazon's, logistics chain is not necessarily its warehouse workers, but based on its data and technology. Do you think that Amazon moves further in that direction, makes any changes based on sort of the labor issues that it is facing?
Yeah, at the end of the day, what Amazon is a ball of algorithms. They've essentially created and invested just a tremendous amount in R&D and especially supply chain R&D to be able to operate efficiently. Like at the scale that we're talking about, where 45% of the American market is buying on Amazon, it's not possible to have humans man it. Essentially what it is, it's algorithms at work. Now, if you look at how these things feed in, this would have had taking the unionization impact on the cost model. It would have had an impact in terms of the variable costs that Amazon would have operated under. Roughly about 15 to 20% of top line of Amazon is supply chain costs, which is, think about the purchase that you make. If you ordered a $100 widget, 15% of that is $15, is being spent on supply chain costs, which is fulfillment, logistics, and warehousing. Now, this vote, if it would have gone in favor of the union, this would have increased that cost maybe by 500 basis points, maybe to 20%. And that would have had a pretty significant impact on not just the shoppers in terms of prices going up across the industry, but also on small businesses and large consumer brands who are essentially will have to bear the cost of all of this.
Certainly, Guru, there would have been meaningful impact had this vote passed. But I'm wondering if you could reflect on what the union president, Stuart Applebaum, saying that even if, depending on no matter how the vote turns out, they believe they've opened the door to more organizing around the country. Do you think he's right, or do you think the defeat of this proposal means that this shuts that down?
I don't think it shuts it down. It does. I think he's right in that it does create some precedents. It does raise some antennas inside of retailers. I think Amazon will have to take a deep look in terms of warehousing conditions, in terms of how employees are treated. If you remember, there was a few years ago when there was in fact some controversies with respect to how Amazon was treating employees in its headquarters. And now, of course, the limelight is on the warehouses. They'll have to shift it. Now, of course, they are very well set. As you know that, in fact, the supply chain head, who's Dave Clark, has now taken over the reins as the CEO of Amazon's retail business. And he exactly knows the pulse of what's happening. And they're very well set to essentially take this into account. But certainly, this does raise a lot of antennas, and retailers, not just Amazon, but Walmart, Best Buy, Target, everybody would have to start looking deeper into their e-commerce operations and start to make some changes to make sure that this doesn't bubble up all over again.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.